the bittersweet thing that accompanies all of this success is that why, with all of these great things going on, do we not have Gary Ross anymore? How can
you mentioned the fandom being calm earlier. I think we're all calm because we're just kind of depressed. I mean, we don't have a director anymore, which is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
And the future is very
uncertain. Does nobody want to make money?
Murky.
The future is murky. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why, I understand that it's all about contracts. But if we lived in and I know we don't live in this world, but a hypothetical world, X-Men, which probably considered itself at one point a much bigger franchise than the Hunger Games, is like a speck of dust compared to the Hunger Games right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a shame that her role as Mystique, honestly, here's my solution. Mystique can change her body type anytime she wants, right? So it's just her natural, right? So her natural form just switched away from Jennifer Lawrence.
And just for people who are listening right now who might not know the full story, obviously Gary Ross stepped down from his role as director because he did not feel that 4 months was enough to finish prepping Catching Fire. And the reason why he only has 4 months is because Catching Fire needs to finish filming by, the end of December, because in January, Jennifer Lawrence has to film X-Men because she plays Mystique. And Gary Ross is the kind of director who likes to be involved in everything. Because he's a writer as well, so he would need to finish the script. Plus, he, as we saw in the Hunger Games, he played a very key role in casting, and so, he wanted to do that again with Catching Fire. And he just didn't feel like 4 months-ish was enough time for him to do all of that successfully. So, and Lionsgate tried to get Fox to move back the X-Men, the filming date, the start of filming, but they refused to do it. So that's where we are now. And I know a lot of people are angry at X-Men. I've heard more than a few people say that they're planning to boycott the movie, and I totally get that. I personally don't know why they wouldn't just move their filming back, but I'm like we said last week, we're not really here to judge or to we're not here to judge, so we're just here to sort of present the facts and share our opinions. So those are the facts as we have them.
And I do want to say this one thing, which is, this has been a discussion. There's even been a twitition about this. Is that how you pronounce it? Twitition?
Yeah, I think so. Twitition.
It's a petition that's on Twitter about this, of people who are basically saying, the same people, by the way, and this shows you how much they love Gary Ross, who were incredibly upset that they had to wait 20 months, saying, we're actually willing to wait 24 months, or even 28 months, if it means keeping Ross and having the movie done at the level and standard that people think it needs. And I do want to say that's a very far-fetched option. It sounds like that's basically not happening, right, Theresa? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
A pipe dream.
Right? Lionsgate confirmed, and I'm trying to remember who they said it to. It was one of the press that they were sticking with their date. They were doing everything they could to stick with the November date. So,
I mean, it's not impossible that it could change, but I guess don't count on it. In other words, it'd be a very surprising occurrence at this point.
It's going to be something. I mean, it's going to be something that's going to go wrong. Other than director, it's going to have to be a problem with filming, or something that goes along the line if they end up having to change that date. But I'm sure that as much as many of us would have wanted them to, whether it be to keep Gary or to just give a new director more time, it's a matter of, they penciled that date in and they want to keep it. And, it's a holiday. In part of you, I mean, as much as I would like them to change it. I kind of understand. I mean, it's the money thing too. I mean, they're looking for a holiday release this time, and obviously with the success of Hunger Games in March, I'm sure they're really anticipating what Catching Fire can do in a holiday time frame. So I mean, it's it's business.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yes, Kait from Victor's Village has arrived. Welcome, Kait.
Hello.
So, Kait, we're going to actually turn to you since you're calling in just now. And we've been talking about the box office and the success, and basically we've all agreed that the Hunger Games has actually so far been more successful than Harry Potter and Twilight and Lord of the Rings, at least in overall gross when you don't count inflation. But what I was going to say is, in light of what's happened this time around, and Theresa, I think you might really agree with me on this. This would have been crazy talk, I feel like, at one point. I think a case could be made that Lionsgate would actually make more money if they came out in 2 years in March, simply because it's become such a phenomenon now. And here's my point why I think this could. Here's why I think this could happen. I know Courtney's like shaking, like this is absurd. This is someone who doesn't live in Hollywood and doesn't know.
No. I agree. I actually agree with you, Adam.
Well, here's what I think would happen. I think, considering what happened, look at what happened to Mirror, Mirror and Wrath of the Titans and some of these movies that tried to come out in the middle of the Hunger Games wake. I honestly think that if Lionsgate did this and the Hunger Games came out March of 2014, my God, March of 2014, that you would basically have indie flicks and like very low budget movies coming out for the next 4 or 5 weekends. That there would be literally no movie would dare to compete in that time frame.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it actually could be a better move.
But don't you think, Adam, that people, I mean, and I know people have said that like the original Star Wars movies, there was a lot of time in between each movie, but that was a really long time ago, back when people had longer attention spans and didn't have the internet. I honestly feel like if it was pushed back to 2014, people would lose interest. I mean, they're riding on a wave of momentum right now, and I can see that just dropping off if it's pushed back that far.
I think the real test to this is going to be the year between, if you want to look at fandom dropping off, if you want to see if there's any truth to that, then you look between a year between breaking down part 1 and part 2. And when part 2 comes out, I mean, like right now it's in a lull, and I mean they're just talking about doing reshoots and stuff for them right now coming up to it, but it's like, they've been in a lull since that part 1 came out, and now they're waiting for part 2. I mean, and that's 2 parts of the same film. So, but I mean, I do see what you're saying though, Adam. I mean, I think March is nothing would dare go against it, and it's going to have a lot stiffer competition coming out in November. But that also shows the testament of the film itself too, how well it does against that November box office. I would do anything to keep Gary, and I would have loved if that would have worked